Greg.
General Griffin and General Wilson will remove the colonel's rank from Brigadier General Dix's Army Service uniform coat and replace them with new shoulder straps bearing the rank of Brigadier General. After that, Lieutenant General Gregg and Mr. Lewis Fields will affix the Brigadier General epaulets to the service uniform shirt of General Dix. Colonel Dix's wife, Mrs. Cynthia Dix, his mother-in-law, Mrs. Nancy Fields, his mother, Mrs. Betty Dix, and his daughter, Nikki, will pin the Brigadier General's star insignia to his service windbreaker after the epaulets have been replaced. That's correct. General Dix's son, J.R., will present an Army beret with the Brigadier General Officer Star Insignia attached to his father. The first General Officer Insignia was established by General Order on July 14, 1775, which stated, to prevent mistakes, the General Officers and their aides-de-camp will be distinguished by the following manners. The Commander-in-Chief by a light blue ribbon worn across his breast between his coat and waistcoat. The Majors and Brigadier Generals by a pink ribbon worn in a like manner. Stars were first used to identify general officers on June 18, 1780, when it was prescribed that Major Generals would wear 2 stars and Brigadier Generals 1 star on each epaulet. Today, The General Officer Star remains the oldest insignia rank worn by officers of our armed services. At each promotion, a soldier reaffirms their commitment to serve their nation as members of the armed forces. General Griffin will now administer the oath to Brigadier General Dix.
I state your name.
I, Mr. Dix,
Having been appointed an officer
officer
in the Army of the United States
in the Army of the United States
in the rank of Brigadier General,
in the rank of Brigadier General,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
and I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same.
and I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same.
I take this obligation freely
I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
to well and faithfully
and I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of the office upon which I am entitled to enter.
of the office upon which I'm about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Ladies and gentlemen, please recognize the Army's newest General Officer, Brigadier General Richard Dix. Command Sergeant Major Bowles and Cadet Huff, please post forward to assist Brigadier General Dix with the uncasing of his General Officer flag. The uncasing and passing of the flag from Command Sergeant Major Bowles to Brigadier General Dix signifies the beginning of a new era and an exciting era in Brigadier General Dix's military career. The United States Army authorizes individual flags to those who warrant them by virtue of their office or rank. The Army has incorporated the use of flags to signify the presence of a general officer. This flag will be present at all official functions and will be visibly displayed in Brigadier General Dix's office. Command Sergeant Major Bowles will now uncase the flag and present it to Brigadier General Dix. At the establishment of the American Army in 1776, officers, including generals, were required to furnish their own sidearms. They purchased sets of flintlock pistols, single pistols, muskets, rifles, and sabers, as their duties required. The practice of issuing pistols to general officers began during World War II. United States Code authorizes each active duty general officer to receive a general officer model M9 pistol. The pistols are special in that they are procured especially for general officers and unique in that each pistol includes a serial number with the prefix beginning with the letters GO. According to Army records, there are currently 658 general officer pistols issued. Mr. William Oglesby will now present General Dix with the general officer pistol box. Miss Nikki, baby girl. Come forward, please, up here with me, please. So we can talk right here, we have to change microphones. We're gonna change the script a little bit. Nikki, would you be surprised to know that in this narration, it says that Nikki has remarks to make regarding her father? Were you aware of that?
No.
You and I well, you and I share something in common. I enjoy working with your father, and I enjoy the surprises that he presents. But I promise you, when you told me the one thing that you said to me when I said, well, you don't have to do this, you didn't quit, and you couldn't quit. Is that right? Mm-hmm. So that's representative of something that's special about you. And I promised you that I would help you through this. So I said that we would ask a couple of questions. If you would share with me, Nikki, what is your favorite memory of your father?
My favorite memory would have to be when I was 9 and in 3rd grade. My father had just come home from Afghanistan, came to my elementary school to surprise me.
How did it make you feel?
It made me feel really good.
That's great. And then I asked, how does your dad inspire you?
He inspires me by always telling me never to quit, even when times get really hard.
And I'm going to ask you finally, because I promised you we would be up here long, since this was kind of new information for us. What does your dad mean to you?
He means everything to me.
What do you want to say to me?
Daddy, congratulations, and I'm really proud of you.
General Dix, you're welcome. And sir, you're now ready to, we invite you to address the audience with your remarks, sir.
First of all, sir, you took about half of my speech. And what General Griffin didn't say, and I'm going to break the protocol a little bit, but I'm going to welcome all the general officers, all the senior executive service members, 2 minutes to name, and I'm not going to try. And I heard General Vine say one time all protocol is observed and in effect. But I'm going to call out 2. I'm going to call out General Wilson, General Griffin, General Ward, and General Gregg. That's actually 3. Actually 4. Yeah, I'm on a roll today. I'm working on it. And I'll come back around. But what General Griffin didn't say was that he was a father away from home. You know, he was the greatest boss that you could ever have. I had 5 points that I was supposed to cover. And they're critical for the kids and the young people in this audience. You know, somebody asked me, hey, sir, it's your day. And I remind them, it's never my day. It's always somebody else's day. Because it's always an opportunity to give back. I tell you, when I got hurt in Desert Storm, Desert Shield, I thought one of the loves of my life were going to be taken from me. It's something I had dreamed about since I was 18 months old. And that's actually a true story. Because my godfather, the late Mr. Willie Twilley, was getting ready to go to Vietnam. And he bent down in the crib to kiss me goodbye. And his dog tags fell out. And I wouldn't let the dog tags go. And he took the dog tags off and gave them to me and waited for me to go to sleep. And when he came back a year later, the first thing I did was pat his chest, looking for the dog tags. And he looked at my mom and dad, and he said, that's gonna be a soldier one day. I've got 5 points that I need to cover that'll set the framework. General Griffin did a great job of setting it beforehand. But you got to understand the journey, and you got to know where I came from. You got to understand that Sam and Hester Stringer, Reuben, and Willamette Dix picked cotton, picked peanuts in a field. They gave birth combined to 23 children. Sam and Hester had 14. Reuben and Willamette had 9. And every day of their life, they dreamed of a day like this, where a descendant could do something positive. And that's all I'm gonna say is positive. Because if you know me, I don't brag and I don't boast. I just go to work. And I'm telling you, it's a privilege to be standing up here and to represent Tony Elementary School, Columbia High School, the Stringer, the Dix, the Lott, the Parks, the Oglesby family, and to be a symbol of hope and what it is that you can do if you put your mind to it. There were 3,400 colonels that were looked at for this board. Only 34 chosen. And of that 34, only 3 African Americans. And I'm one of the 3, I'm one of the 34. And I tell you, I paid my dues. I never complained. I always went where they sent me. And I always did what they asked me to do. Because that's what soldiers do. But I'll tell you, I couldn't have made it without the great NCOs from Fort Stewart, Fort Bragg, Germany, Afghanistan, Croatia, Bosnia, Kosovo, and a whole bunch of other places that we went to. Now you see me up here, but you see a whole lot of people that came before me that I'm standing on their shoulders. You know, warrant officers, command sergeant majors, enlisted officers. There was a gentleman that walked in, and he was a few minutes late because he's coming across country to be here. And I told Cynthia I wasn't gonna call any names, but I'm gonna call a few because it's a part of the journey. And this gentleman was in the 82nd Airborne, went to Vietnam, and he came back. He ran in the 1964 and 68 Olympics, and he medaled in the 68 Olympics. So in our midst, we have a gold medal. But more importantly, he came from the same neighborhood I came from. He came from the same village that I came from. And he and I spoke, and we came to the same conclusion. He said, son, it takes a village to raise a child into a man. And everybody in this room, whether I call your name or not, you're a part of that village, and you raised a boy from Limo Park into a man. I'm better for it. I'm stronger for it. Mel, it does my heart good that you were able to be here. He went to high school with my father and my uncles in Atlanta. They had the same group back in the mid-50s, early 60s, that years later I had with my best friends. I think you told me it was like 6 or 7 of you guys, to include my Uncle Sam, who retired as a gunnery sergeant in the Marines. Mel retired as a captain. I had the same 6 or 7 years later, and that's the men of the Scouting. And one of them made it, and he's my best friend for life. He'll go anywhere I ask him to go, and he'll do anything. And he knows he'll get the same thing from me in return. Now, our other best friend, Charles, couldn't be here, but his father's here. His father has been the greatest role model that I could have at a young age. This man opened up his house and allowed 6 very rare bunch of kids to come into his basement and play ping pong all day long. And it made no sense to us. But what we learned years later was that all the parents got together and said, hey, you can stay in our basement. Because what that meant was they knew exactly where we were and what we were doing. And we were down there strategizing and dreaming about the future and stuff. Everybody was successful, just like your group, Mel. Mel had no idea that had transpired. And I'm telling you, that's God working in the midst. You know, 2 groups, years apart, and success being achieved out of both groups. But what I